there, future plumbing pro. So you're diving headfirst into your apprenticeship. That's awesome. I bet you're eager to get your hands dirty, but maybe feeling a little overwhelmed with all the tools you're encountering. Don't worry, we've got you covered. We're doing a deep dive into a topic that's way more exciting than it sounds: PVC pipe cutters.
You'd be surprised how many people underestimate the importance of a good pipe cutter.
Right. And that's why we're lucky to have you here. You've been in the plumbing trenches for over 20 years. What's one thing you wish someone had told you about pipe cutters when you were just starting out?
Honestly, don't cheap out on these.
That is-
I know when you're starting, every penny counts,
Mhm.
but a quality cutter will save you so much frustration in the long run. It's an investment in your craft.
Love that. An investment in your craft. Okay, let's dive into this article from TigerFish Tools. They list 5 PVC cutters they consider must-haves, and it's got me thinking, are there really situations where you need that many different types?
Oh, absolutely. Each one is designed for a specific purpose. And trust me, when you're in a tight spot, you'll be glad you have the right tool for the job.
Okay, so let's break it down. Their first pick is the EzyGrind Inside Pipe Cutter. They're calling it a game changer for tight spaces. What makes this one so special?
Remember those cheap inside cutters we talked about? The ones that feel like they're going to break after 2 cuts? The EzyGrind is designed to address those exact problems. The big difference is this little thing called a guide wheel. Imagine a tiny training wheel that attaches to the cutter. It keeps the blade stable and prevents it from wobbling around even inside a cramped wall cavity.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So it's all about precision when you're working in a tight spot where even a small mistake can be a major headache.
Precisely. And speaking of avoiding headaches, those diamond blades on the EzyGrind are a lifesaver. They last way longer than standard steel blades, especially when you're dealing with tougher materials. Saves you time and money on replacements in the long run.
Got it. So quality blades equal cleaner cuts and less frequent replacements. I can already see how this would make a difference on the job. Now, what about this next one? The Rothenberger ROCT PVC Ratchet Cutter. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It's not quite as exciting as a lightsaber, but it's a solid all-arounder for everyday use, especially on pipes up to 1.5 inches. The ratcheting action gives you more leverage, making it easier to cut through pipes without needing Hulk-like strength.
So perfect for us mere mortals just starting out. That's reassuring.
Exactly. And don't underestimate that lockable lever they mentioned in the article. Yeah, it's a safety feature, keeps the blade covered when you're not using it, but it also protects the blade from getting damaged in your toolbox.
Ah, smart. It's like they say, take care of your tools.
And it'll take care of you.
Okay, so we've got the EzyGrind for those tight, awkward cuts, the ROCUT for everyday use. Now, the article also mentions handsaws, but it seems like they're recommending a hacksaw for most PVC work. Now, a hacksaw might seem pretty straightforward, but this article actually recommends a specific one, the DeWalt DWHT2547EJ. It's a 5-in-1 hacksaw, which sounds pretty intense. I mean, what does that even mean for a saw?
Don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Basically, it means this DeWalt can do it all. You can adjust the blade angle swap and different types of blades. It's like the Swiss Army knife of hacksaws.
Yeah.
The real selling point for me, though, and you'll appreciate this as an apprentice, is the low-profile design.
Low profile. So it's like the undercover agent of saws?
Something like that. It just means the body of the saw is slimmed down, making it perfect for those cramped crawl spaces or those spots where a bulkier saw just won't fit. And let's be real, as a new apprentice, you're going to see a lot of those situations.
Oh, absolutely. Better get used to the close quarters. Okay, so that's 3 down the EzyGrind for tight spots, the ratcheting cutter for everyday use, and the hacksaw for the heavy-duty jobs. Now, the next one on the list is a bit more specialized. They're recommending a cable saw, which seems like something you'd use to cut through steel bars in a heist movie.
Well, they're not quite that dramatic, but you're right. Cable saws are for more specific situations. Imagine you need to cut a pipe that's already installed running close to a wall, or maybe it's got some funky bends in it. That's where the cable saw comes in.
Makes sense. It's like the contortionist of pipe cutters able to squeeze into those hard-to-reach places. The article specifically calls out the General Tools 858. Anything special about that one, or is it more about just having any decent cable saw in your toolkit?
While any cable saw is better than none when you need it, the General Tools 858 has one key advantage: the handles. You see, with cable saw, you're really putting your back into it. It's all about leverage. The 858 has these larger, more ergonomic handles that make it easier to grip and control, especially when you're wearing gloves. Trust me, after a few cuts, you'll appreciate the difference.
Right, because even the toughest plumber doesn't want to end up with blisters. So thinking about our apprentice listener, they're probably itching to go out and buy all 5 of these cutters right now. What would you say to that? Should they go all in right away?
I admire the enthusiasm, but I'd say hold your horses. You don't want to be that apprentice who shows up on their first day with a tool bag the size of a small car full of gadgets they don't know how to use.
It's better to learn to walk before you start sprinting through those plumbing calls.
Exactly.
Mhm.
However, you also don't want to be caught empty-handed when a specific task requires a specific tool. It's all about balance. If I had to pick two to start with, I'd say the ratchet cutter and the hacksaw. Those two will handle a good 80% of the situations you'll encounter early on.
Solid advice. So start with the essentials, build confidence and experience, and then expand the toolkit strategically. It's about learning what works best for you.
Now you're getting it. The EzyGrind is a worthwhile investment as you start tackling more intricate inside-the-wall work, and that cable saw will be a lifesaver when you encounter those oddball jobs.
Now, speaking of those oddball jobs, safety is always paramount, especially for someone just starting out. Any essential safety tips beyond what they mentioned in the article that you wish someone had shared with you early on?
Safety is paramount. You're absolutely right. One thing that comes to mind, and it sounds simple, but you'd be surprised how often it's overlooked, especially when you're in a hurry. Always, and I mean always, wear your safety glasses, even if you think it's a quick, easy cut. PVC might be softer than other materials, but those shards can really fly.
Absolutely. Better to be safe than sorry. Right. Speaking of avoiding those oops moments, the article didn't really delve into tool maintenance. Is a dull blade something to worry about with PVC cutters? Or is that more of an issue with other types of plumbing work?
That's a misconception I see a lot. People think because PVC cuts easily, the sharpness of the blade doesn't matter as much. But a dull blade actually makes it more dangerous. You need to apply more force, which increases the chances of the cutter slipping and causing an injury. Plus, a sharp blade means a cleaner cut, and that's what we're always striving for, right?
Right, so learning to sharpen your tools is a skill that pays off in more ways than one, maybe a future deep dive topic. But before we get ahead of ourselves, you mentioned there's something else they didn't cover in the article. Something you wish you'd known as an apprentice. Don't keep us in suspense.
It's something so simple, but it makes a world of difference. Keep your tools clean.
Really? Even something as basic as a PVC cutter.
Especially a PVC cutter. You're using it on dirty pipes in all sorts of conditions. Job sites aren't exactly known for their cleanliness, right? All that gunk and grime builds up on the blades in the mechanisms, and eventually it affects their performance.
So it's not just about being tidy, it's about actually maintaining your tools and making them last longer.
Exactly. A little bit of care gets a long way. Wipe down your tools after each use. Give them a little oil every now and then. They'll reward you with years of reliable service. And trust me, when you're not constantly replacing worn-out tools, your wallet will thank you too.
That's a tip I'm definitely taking to heart. It's like they say, take care of your tools and they'll take care of you. We've covered a lot of ground here, from specialized cutters for those how do I even reach that situations to the importance of tool maintenance,
Yeah.
which honestly I'm a little embarrassed I haven't been more on top of. For our listener out there just starting their plumbing journey, what's the one key takeaway you want them to remember as they build their skills and their toolkit?
I think the biggest thing is to approach your apprenticeship as a journey of continuous learning. Don't be afraid to ask questions, observe experienced plumbers, and experiment with different tools to find what works best for you. Building your toolkit, both the physical tools and your knowledge, is an ongoing process. And remember, even seasoned pros like me are still learning something new every day.
Love that. A journey of continuous learning. And hey, if our listener stumbles upon a revolutionary new pipe cutter we haven't even dreamed of, we want to hear about it. Keep those tips and discoveries coming. Until next time, happy plumbing.